Alright guys, I'm gonna continue through my DVD collection. This is the second tower in the middle here, and this is gonna be tier number 2 going down. And we'll see that here I have a little bit of organization. I'm pretty sure that these are all comedy. These are all comedies. So I started off having some organization. When we get to the final tier, you'll see, or the final tower at the end here, you'll see more organization, and you know they're less organized over here. But these are all comedy. Borat, I've seen this movie a lot. I really like this movie. It is really one of the top comedies, with Sacha Baron Cohen playing a foreigner. And what's interesting about this movie is he interacts with people. Some of this is recorded like real interactions, where he's spoofing these people, pretending to be somebody, this foreigner, and there's some perverted stuff in here, and but I mean, not too crazy, but it's overall it's pretty funny. He's just this foreigner that comes to America, and he's actually stupid, and he says like racist or sexist stuff, and he pisses people off, basically, is what it comes down to, or he really surprises them. But there's also this storyline that's like interwoven in there. So he has this partner with him that he comes over with, and they get into a fight. But I mean, the movie starts off basically he sees Pamela Anderson like on Baywatch, and he wants to be with Pamela Anderson, basically. So he's like seeking her out. That's a big part of the plot. And I own, most of this guy's movies, and I did like the other ones that I have, but Borat definitely is one of the best ones. He came out with this show recently that was really anti-conservative and everything, and anti-guns, and so I don't like this guy as much now, but I don't think it really ruins Borat for me. It's still funny, and unfortunately this guy is a liberal maniac, so whatever. But I don't really regret having that movie. It's funny. South Park, bigger, longer, uncut. I think this is the first full-length feature film from South Park, and I like it. I really like South Park. I don't know how many seasons they're on now. They're up in the 20s, 25, 24. I don't know. I watched some of the last stuff. I've watched most of it, but there are some seasons more recently, the last few years or whatever, I've missed out on. But it's on Hulu and stuff. I've been going back and watching some every now and then. I've watched the most recent season, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't know if they're going to end soon. They always talk about ending, but then they do another one. South Park is really one of those shows that is not, PC. So it always plays on pop culture and what's going on currently, and sometimes there can be some seriousness to it, but it's really funny. And these characters, Cartman and Kyle and Stan and Kenny, I've grown up with South Park. This was around, it started when I was like a teenager, and there's all this huge cast of characters, and it's been going on for years and years and years and years, and so it's part of my childhood, and it's kind of part of my life. And so it is there's cursing, and there's perverted stuff and all kinds of like rated R stuff, but at times it can be really touching and serious and touch on issues that are going on in life and the world, and it's really thoughtful, and it's really funny, and I mean, that's the point. So love South Park. Black Sheep, I remember actually seeing this in the theater with my mom. We arrived to it a little bit late. I was so excited for seeing it because I loved Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live. And I remember them telling my mom that this movie was like rated R because it was, cartoon violence. And but we went in there and watched it, and I loved it. And I love Chris Farley. I love Tommy Boy and the other movies. Tommy Boy and Black Sheep are two of the main ones. But it's got David Spade in it. It's one of his movies with David Spade, and Tommy Boy has David Spade too. They made a great duo, and One of the ones I remember in this one, they're in this cabin and there's this huge like rock that rolls down and it hits the cabin and it like knocks it like sideways or whatever. Everything in the cabin like slides to one end and Chris Farley gets like pinned by the refrigerator against the wall and he's like, oh, I got chocolate pudding all over my pants or whatever, and then David Spade's like, we didn't have any pudding, so it's like he crafts himself. I always thought that was funny. And also when they're in the cabin they have like bunk beds and David Spade's like laying on the bottom one and Chris Farley's like, I get top, and since he's a heavier guy he jumps on the top bunk bed and it just like collapses on David Spade. Lots of slapstick comedy, you know, I love that stuff, just goofy. Chris Farley was so energetic. Drop Dead Fred, this is one from my childhood that I love, and this has really terrible ratings, but it's got Phoebe Cates. I don't remember what else she was in, but I should know, but I want to think that she was in Beetlejuice, but I don't know if she was the one that was in there. And it's got this Australian guy, I think he's Australian, Rick Mayall. He is like her imaginary friend, and it shows when she's a child how he led her into mischief. He would have her do all kinds of stuff she'd get in trouble for. And then it shows when she's older, and he comes back and visits her, and kind of gets her mixed up into more trouble, and she wants him gone. And it's a really creative and funny. I love it. I don't care how bad the ratings are. I like it. Bruno, this is like the second movie that Sacha Baron Cohen did, one of his second. He did do Ali G, but I mean, this was after Borat. Borat was, you know, what really put him over. You see from the man behind Borat. And this one he plays a gay guy, so there's a lot of homosexual stuff in here. But again, it's one where he interacts with people, and he ticks off people. And one of the main scenes that I liked in this one was when, like, they go camping. He wants to learn what it's like to be like a straight heterosexual man, so he goes like camping with these guys. He goes like hunting, alright? They're going like hunting, but they're camping out at night, something like that. And like he keeps trying to get in their tent, and they're like get out of my tent. He's like, I'm scared or whatever, I want to sleep with you. So, it's definitely not as good as Borat, but there's some good things in there. And with all the perverted homosexual stuff, you know, some of it is a bit too much maybe, but there's some redemption in there. The Dictator, this was like the third one, I'd consider that. I saw this with my cousin in theater, where he plays this foreign dictator, and he's in America, and it's probably funnier than Bruno, but still not as good as Borat. It also has that woman that's in the scary movies, you know, the movies that are called scary movie, you know, the horror spoofs. I don't remember what her name is, but let's just say that Roger Ebert said Sacha Baron Cohen establishes a claim to be the best comic filmmaker now working. There's slapstick in this and stuff too. It's pretty good. It's alright. Tim and Eric's $1 Billion Movie. I was a huge fan of Tim and Eric's awesome show, Great Job, on Adult Swim. I watched all that. I'd like to own all that eventually, but it's hard to explain them. They're just completely absurd. They do this weird, like, retro style stuff that just like disturbing absurdness. It doesn't make any sense. It's not for everybody. It's stuff that, you know, a lot of people probably aren't going to like. But then they actually made a full-length movie, and I was like, yes, I gotta see this, and I loved it. And it has even Jeff Goldblum in it, and different actors, and I don't even really remember a whole lot about the plot. They're trying to make $1 billion movie or something, or they go broke. I remember they go to a mall that's like abandoned. But it has a lot of the humor from their TV show, their series. It says the Academy should honor this film with the preemptive award for best film. Tim Hyde, oh, best movie ever. So they're giving their own comments on the movie, of course. This is definitely not going to be one for everybody, but I love Tim and Eric, so. Office Space is a classic comedy. A lot of people have probably seen this. About these people that work in an office, cubicle or whatever, like these cubicle jobs, they hate their job, and they come up with this scheme to like slowly like siphon money off the system or something to where they're going to be like millionaires. And I don't remember all the details, but there's a lot of quirkiness in it, and it's great. A lot of people could probably enjoy that one. Step Brothers, probably the best movie with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, where they are, one's living with their mother and one's living with their father, and they're adults and they haven't moved out yet. And then, you know, their mother and their father gets together, so they have to move in together. At first they hate each other because like they're crossing into each other's territories, and then they end up becoming like best friends, and they kind of help destroy their parents' relationships and split up their parents, and then they try to get their parents back together. A lot of slapstick absurdness in this one. They're just like adult children and throwing temper tantrums and stuff. There's parts where like they both sleepwalk at night, and when they sleepwalk they do weird stuff, like one like puts his mom's purse in the refrigerator or something like that, and they smash stuff, and they end up driving their parents crazy because of the issues that they have, and then it's like doubled. Napoleon Dynamite, MTV movie. It's like a retro style movie. I love this. It's a classic. How do I explain it? I don't know. Napoleon's just kind of like this nerdy kid, and he's so quirky. I don't know really what the words are for it, but you just kind of see his life, how he's going through school, and it's just kind of simple plots, but it's great. Alright, I got Jackass 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this is where MTV show where guys do stupid stunts. Basically, that's about it. Which ranges from all kinds of stuff. You know, dangerous stunts, and doing stuff in public to make people laugh or to scare people or shock them. So a lot of funny stuff there, though. The Life of Brian, Monty Python. I've seen this once. I know it's all about religion, and it's kind of poking fun at religions. But Monty Python's great. This is, I think, what a lot of people think the second best to the Holy Grail. But I think The Life of Brian's supposed to be like an extra biblical book or something. The Gospel according to Monty Python. In Judea, a boy is born in a manger in a short distance from and about the same time as Jesus Christ. 3 wise men from the east are for a time deceived by this proximity into believing that he is the promised Messiah, but it soon becomes apparent that he is in fact only a hapless peasant named Brian. However, the life of Brian causes plenty of commotion for the Roman Empire and leaves him desperate to escape his burgeoning popularity. See, I've only seen this like once a long time ago, so I don't remember much, but I'm sure that there's a lot of hilarity in it. It's Monty Python, so. Animal House. It's classic with what's his face? John Belushi or Jim Belushi, which one? Yeah, it's just one of those frat house, you know, college movies about with girls and all that. Tropic Thunder, I really enjoyed this. It's good. It's got Jack Black. I like Ben Stiller a lot. Robbie Downer Jr. plays a black man. He's an Australian man. Or he plays like an Australian man, like playing a black man. It's weird, but it's like a war movie spoof. They're supposed to be making a war movie, and it turns out like they're in a real war. So like people start dying, and they're like confused because they're just actors. Here's the Holy Grail, which I was just talking about. Monty Python. It's definitely one of the top classic comedy movies. If you love comedy, if you want some of the best, then you know this would be in your collection. It's absurd, kind of fantasy type movie. Spoof. Kingpin, one of my top favorite comedies also. I've loved this. I've watched it many, many times. Woody Harrelson, Randy Quaid, Vanessa Angel. Woody Harrelson's a bowler. He's a great bowler. It has Bill Murray in it. And Bill Murray bowls with him, but he's like a con artist. And he talks Woody Harrelson's character into conning some people with him. They pretend that they're not good at bowling, and they start betting money, and they lose at first, and they keep upping the stakes until the money's high, and then they, then they kick in their skill, and they take the money, basically, because they're pro bowlers. Well, they get caught up one time, and Bill Murray leaves Woody Harrelson stranded with the angry people, and they put his hand in the ball return. He ends up losing his hand, so he has to get a hook. And then it fast forwards to the future, and he's going to a bowling alley. He sells condoms for a living, and he has like a rubber hand, and they call him the Rubber Man. And he, when he's in the bowling alley, he hears Randy Quaid's character do like a strike, and he's really impressed. And Randy Quaid's a Amish guy, and he basically wants to take him pro and make him pro. And they meet this Vanessa Angel along the way. But I could watch this movie a million times more. Two Thumbs, Way Up by Siskel and Ebert. I agree. And this is made by the same people who made Dumb and Dumber, which a lot of people would consider the classic comedy. Not the Messiah by Monty Python. I haven't seen this one, so this is one that I'd have to see. But this is supposed to be some kind of a live performance, so it's kind of different, but I figured it's Monty Python, so I picked that up. Anger Management, I've seen this a lot too. I watched this in one of my rehabs before, The Outpatient, and it's got Adam Sandler, Jack Nicholson. Adam Sandler, he's accused of having anger problems. He's on an airplane, and things escalate quickly, and kind of made to look like he has this anger problem. He gets assigned Jack Nicholson, who is this his counselor, supposed to help Adam Sandler, but he ends up infuriating him more. He gets really personal with him. He ends up like living with him. He has to live with him by the court order. And he pushes Adam Sandler even more over the edge. And that's a hilarious movie. I like that one. Talladega Nights. This is one of Will Ferrell's best too. When I said Step Brothers probably is the height of the John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell movies, but Talladega Nights was before that, and it's great. It also has Sacha Baron Cohen, who was in Borat and Bruno and Dictator, like I mentioned. This was before Borat, I think. He plays a foreigner in this one too. This one's about race car driver, basically. And he's really good, and his buddy races, and he's really good, and his buddy helps him get in first. Well, he ends up getting in a crash, and like it changes him, and he's scared of crashing, and his buddy kind of takes over and becomes the elite driver, and Will Ferrell loses everything, and he's kind of like rebuilding his life, and it's great. It's funny. And I do have Blues Brothers 2000. There we go. Dan Aykroyd, John Goodman. Great movie. I just picked up the original Blues Brothers. So, again, I love the car pile-ups. I love a lot of that movie. It's just funny, hilarious. Saturday Night Live commercial parodies. This is one of the best Saturday Night Live DVDs I think you can get. And I found this in the lot, the 50-cent lot, and I was like, yes! I remember I bought like a download purchase of this before. This is just all of the all of the really popular commercial parodies on Saturday Night Live. From the past and the present. And there's the little donuts, little chocolate donuts, the breakfast of champions that John Belushi eats them, kind of like a Wheaties parody. There's a lot of them that I love. There's wow, my foot's going to sleep. I was sitting on it. Some of the I could just go on and on about the funny commercials on here. One of them that I really like is this roach trap, where it's like a roach motel. The roach goes in there and it like rips off all of its limbs and it like beats it to death with like its own limbs, and then it like burns its anus and it shoves like cotton in its anus. It like tortures the roach, and then they're like, yeah, the roach will like, it won't kill it, but like it'll like never want to, they'll never want to come back or whatever. I don't know. There's that one. There's like cookie dough sport. It's supposed to be like Gatorade, but it's like cookie dough. They're like drinking it out of like the containers, just pouring the cookie dough in their mouths. And there's a three-legged jeans where there's just like an extra leg in the jeans. I mean, I've seen this tons of times, and I'd be willing to watch it a ton more. These never get old. These fake commercials. That's back when Saturday Night Live was good. Not so much anymore. Will Ferrell, another Anchorman, another great Will Ferrell movie that a lot of people like. I haven't seen the second one. Interested in seeing that one. He's a news anchor. I don't remember the plot, but it's just your average Will Ferrell nuttiness. It's one of the best ones, too. Raising Arizona, classic comedy with Nicolas Cage. He's like basically a criminal. He goes to jail so many times, and he sees this female police officer so many times that they end up having a relationship. And they want a baby, and I don't remember if they can't or what, I don't know, but there's these rich people that end up having babies, and they have like 6 twins or something at once. And his wife, the police officer, is like, why don't we just take one of their babies? Like they won't miss them. So Nicolas Cage goes in and steals their baby. It's a baby heist, and it also has John Goodman in it. And this is really, if a lot of people I feel might not know about this, because I didn't know about it. If you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, or you're just a fan of great comedy movies, this is definitely a classic, and I'm really proud to own that one. License to Drive, probably one of my favorite 80s movies. I don't know why, but I really love this one. It's got Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, and basically it's Corey Haim. He's turning 16. He's going to get his driver's license. He's got to take the test at school. His parents are going to be going on vacation or something, and the idea is that he's supposed to get his license, and he's going to be driving while they're gone, and he has all these plans to go out and have fun. And he ends up failing the test, but he doesn't tell his parents. He passes it off as that he passed the test and he's okay to drive. I don't remember if they find out anyways that he doesn't or not. They might find out and told him he couldn't drive. I don't know. So he ends up taking his grandpa's car or something. But it all takes place in like one night where he ends up driving anyway, and he just goes on this crazy adventure, ends up trashing the car completely, and but he makes it alive. He comes back home, and it's just, I don't know. For some reason I really love that movie. Joe Dirt, David Spade plays this trailer trash type character. It's the best way I could describe it, I guess. It's I think it's funny. It's a lot of stupid humor, pretty lowbrow comedy, but there's a lot of these fecal jokes, like there's this thing where he thinks that he has like a bomb, like an old missile or something, and he threatens to like blow the place up if he hits it with the hammer, and like he hits it, and like crap ends up coming out of it like everywhere, and they're like, oh, that's a septic tank or whatever. I don't know, he has this thing he thinks is a meteorite, and he's like dragging around his wagon for like his life, and they're like, that's not a meteorite, that's just like a big hunk of crap, and they're like, there's the corn, you can see it. He's like born with a mullet, like, I don't know, he's supposed to be, I don't know. I've seen it a lot, and it's not like the best movie, but I can laugh at stuff like that. It's funny. Pineapple Express. It's about this. It's a marijuana movie, but it's got Seth Rogen, James Franco, and it's got him, which Kevin McBride. I think McBride. I don't remember his name. Kevin. Maybe. Danny McBride. Why did I say Kevin? Danny McBride. I love him. But, they end up getting mixed up into some stuff, like some deep, drug dealer type stuff. And, the Pineapple Express is the name of the marijuana that's supposed to be, like, the most potent marijuana. It's a stoner adventure, but it's a good comedy. It's not bad, so. Hangover, about these three guys that go to Las Vegas, and one of them's getting married, so it's like his bachelor party, and at the beginning, we see them waking up, and they wake up to all kinds of crazy stuff, like they have a baby, and this guy has a tooth knocked out, and they're like, what happened last night? And then the whole movie like backtracks through their crazy night, like all this crazy crap that happened while they were in Vegas. And it has Mike Tyson in it also. It's good. They made sequels to that. I haven't seen them. Bad Santa, basically. Billy Bob Thornton plays a Santa who goes around to different malls, and he has this little elf helper, and when the mall closes, they rob him for their jewelry and money and everything. And but he ends up befriending this little boy, and this movie is rated R, but he's also an alcoholic, and but I love this movie. I love Billy Bob Thornton. Sling Blade's my favorite movie of all time. This is a really good Christmas movie for adults. It has some touching moments to it, even out of all the... it also has John Ritter. I forgot about that. But, yeah, I like this. And then they made a sequel, which is decent too. But The Bad Santa is great. Okay, on the final one. This one isn't a comedy, so this one's not a comedy, but this is a double feature of Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon, based on a true story about a bank robbery where it all takes place in one day, and he's robbing this bank, but then police surround the building, and so he has the hostages, and they're just trying to negotiate to get him out of there, and I'm pretty sure that's a true story. I love that. That's one of my favorite Al Pacino movies. That's the reason why I picked this up. Serpico is really good too, though. He plays a police officer, and I don't remember a lot about that, but almost all of Al Pacino's movies are great. But these are two of some of the best, besides obviously Scarface. And then I've got some of his other ones. I don't remember. Carlito's Way, and there are some other ones that he's done, but if you haven't seen Dog Day Afternoon, definitely check that out. That's one of his earlier ones, and I really like that. So, Serpico might be based on a true story too, I'm not sure. I don't know. But that's it for the second tier. Stay tuned for more.